Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'd like to call to order this agenda review. Can I get a roll call, please?
Yes, Commissioner Dollison,
Here.
Commissioner Mercer,
Here.
Commissioner Dantzler.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Yates.
Here.
And Mayor Birdsong.
Here. All right. We have some presentations, but we have the first one for agenda review only will be Willowbrook.
So do you want to do those this before or after the agenda, Mr. Mayor? We can do it either way. You've got Willowbrook, you've got one from tennis, and then we also have a strategic plan presentation.
No, I'd like to get them out of the way.
Okay.
Unless y'all need some more time.
If they're not ready by now, they're not going to be.
I guarantee you they want to go first and get out of here.
I know. Yeah, that's what I'm doing for y'all.
Well, good evening. My name's Dan Zimmer. I'm Vice President of Operations with Troon Golf. And then also here is Joe Coley, our General Manager out at Willowbrook. So we're going to go through this as kind of a two-part presentation. First part, we'll give an update on the golf course and the operations. And then at the end, we'll turn it over to Katie, and she's going to do an update on all of the projects that are going on out there as well. I'm going to turn it over to Joe, and he's going to run through some historical information on revenue and rounds, and then just updates on the course in general.
Just a couple graphical representations of our rounds from historically at the golf course. So starting the first year, 2014, and then this year currently, which is the forecasted. Same with our revenues, graphical, and then the last will be the bottom line from. So there are some reasons that you saw that decline at the end there. So to begin the year, we started with some effects of Helene and Milton, which impacted the beginning of September, October, where we first started to get things underway. And then throughout the golf season, we had below average temperatures in January, and then the tariff tensions throughout the United States and Canada kind of deterred some of the snowbirds from coming down or staying as long as they normally would, and then their rentals kind of lapsing. Also, the inflation within the economy has a higher impact on the senior golfers, especially the snowbirds that come down. Fixed incomes, everything else costs a little bit more. So you start to see the discretionary spending getting a little bit tighter, which golf would be generally fall into that category. The inflation also affects our expenses and our labor. Some of the external things around the golf course is the housing development going on adjacent to the golf course, the construction phases that are currently taking place. They've leveled the land and they've brought in fill. And especially in the drier months of the winter, it creates a lot of dust. Also creates a lot of traffic out on the Lucerne Park Road, getting in and out of the golf course. Some things that maybe most people don't think of impacting the golf business, but it did this season. And then looking at the impacts that we'll see through the renovations, we started to spray out the greens at the end of May. So that slowed us down when we would normally be a little bit busier when you're playing on dead greens. And then that will be impactful through about mid to end of November. We closed the golf course for play on 18 holes on June 30th, and we will probably be closed to the end of August, hoping to reopen in September on temporary greens through the reopening on the regular greens in November. Course conditions currently in the fairways are very nice, excellent turf conditions. We did not have to overseed this winter, which let us spray deeper into the fall and start spraying sooner in the spring, which leads to that luscious turf. And we've got areas of grass that had never been growing grass out there before. During the season, our greens were all in great shape. We did a slight overseed on the greens. We didn't overseed anything else other than the greens, just dusted them. They were coming out of transition very nicely until we had to spray them out for the upcoming renovations. And throughout the renovation process, we plan on taking the greens out to closer to the original size that they were prior to the encroachment throughout the years. All the tee boxes have excellent turf coverage. one of the resources that we have through this renovation is the old greens mix that has been taken out of the current greens. We've been able to use that to top dress the tee boxes. So we started that process a couple weeks ago where we will be top dressing tee boxes throughout this closure, which will help promote the turf throughout this growing season. So when we get into the winter, it'll be some of the best tee boxes we've ever had out there. Our loyalty program continues to be one of the best in the market. It offers the guaranteed lowest rates all year. We build in value options such as a sleeve of golf balls or lunch in the morning, and then you also get the rate breaks an hour earlier. So if you're looking at a regular rate sheet, say the public rate breaks at 1 o'clock, the discount card holder breaks at 12. So normally people would wait till 1 o'clock to book a tee time. You kind of alleviate that big gap in the tee sheet where people aren't calling because they want the cheaper rate later. So you just give a different group of people a cheaper rate an hour earlier. Our social media has grown to 1,000+ followers. This is the platform that we've used to keep people updated on our renovation process. We've got videos, pictures. We're running specials for the driving range, specials for the pro shop, while the pro shop and driving range do remain open throughout the actual golf course closure. As we always touch on, ACE is our guest experience training. It's the 3 pillars right here. Every employee goes to this training every year. We give a pledge at the end, and it will be really pushing the ACE experience towards our reopening to make sure that we're banging on all cylinders when the golf course gets back to full capacity. Just a couple of examples of some reviews that we've gotten over the last few months. 5-star reviews, course is in great shape. I love playing it many times. I'll keep coming back. A lot of people like to touch on the nature views of the golf course. It's still an old Florida golf course at its heart, so you get some of that throughout the front and back 9. And then this is our regional support team. These are the people that we rely on that aren't on site to get us through our daily operations. Pause for some questions.
So while things are shut down out there, I get, we've got the driving range and putting green kind of still open. And is the restaurant open still, or is the shop is still open? Or
the practice green is not open because it's
Okay.
being renovated as well. The restaurant is not open either. So the pro shop is open and the driving range is open. We do run food and beverage through the golf shop, just snacks and beverages and stuff like that.
Okay.
But none of the kitchen is open.
And so are we doing other things, like is the maintenance crew still out there, or are they working on the greens with the contractor that's handling that? Or
The maintenance staff is working more than they would normally work at the regular time because they have a perfect opportunity with no golfers out there to get a lot of stuff done.
that was what I was alluding to, I was wondering if we were going to punch the fairways or if we were going to cut shrubs and out of the lakes and keep the canal cleaned up and stuff like that while the crew is working on the other things.
Yes to all of the things that you outlined. Those are things, Joe had mentioned before, the ability to top dress tees in certain parts of the fairways using the spoils from the greens when they cord them out. And then also getting on the perimeters and clearing out those areas which have kind of over the last 30 years have encroached on the golf course. So being able to push those back, certainly the lake banks and cleaning those out. And then there's a lot of tree work that needs to be done. So spending time on the lower limbs and being able to clean those up and create for two reasons, creates better airflow where you can get a better area to grow turf, and then also our team can maintain that better. You can get mowers underneath them and equipment underneath them to maintain those areas.
Thank you.
Go ahead. I guess, Joe, you might can answer this, or maybe Dan, I don't know. When I see a number go down like that about rounds, I immediately think about the Canadian boycott. Can you point to that more than anything? I mean, I know you gave me a whole litany of things. And are you seeing this on all your other courses potentially, or is it just us?
Yeah, so during the season, there was really twofold. January was a very cold month, much colder than normal. So the weather impacted play in January all throughout the state of Florida. And then certainly in the snowbird markets, the Canadian impact was significant. So we did see similar, for example, down in southeast Florida, like Fort Lauderdale area, we saw the same thing. It was either Canadians not coming down, shortening their trip. And then also we're looking forward to next year of are they, because there's a long lead time to booking those accommodations when they come down, there have been a lot that have opted out of not coming down this following year as well. So that's something that we follow closely and hoping kind of smooths out, but it was a significant impact.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm Katie White. I'm a project lead with the Parks and Rec Department and working on the Willowbrook project. So just a quick overview of our project so far. So like Joe mentioned, the course was fully closed on June 30th with the driving range and pro shop remaining open. The irrigation pond has been cleaned out and we're working with utilities to install new instrumentation for the reuse line. As of today, all 18 greens have been scraped out, which entails removing the top layers of the grass and soil. The root zone mix should be all installed in the greens by the middle of next week. And in this video that you're seeing, that's them working in the new root zone mix on the putting green. So preliminary irrigation work has begun and the greens irrigation work on the back 9 should begin next week, followed by the front 9. The irrigation work is slated to be done by the end of July. And in this video, you can see the greens that have been filled with the new root zone mix. So irrigation completion is our primary objective of finishing that, but Troon does plan on opening on temporary greens once the sprigs are down, which the sprigs will follow the irrigation work. So the growing process is slated to be complete towards the end of the year, and that's when Troon will open up on the new greens. And that's our update so far. I'm sure we'll have another update in the next couple months.
All right. Any questions? All right.
Thank you.
We'll do the pickleball.
Tennis.
Tennis.
Yeah, tennis.
That's still a sport?
Lead with tennis, please.
Pickleball.
But I'll be pretty questions as well.
I'm calling it pickleball. Forget the tennis.
This is Dave Saltman. Anybody's ever seen him in long pants? I never have.
Actually, MJ said, who's the bald guy sitting over there?
I said the same thing.
I know. My wife won't even recognize me in this outfit, so appreciate you having me tonight. My name's Dave Saltman. I'm the head tennis professional at the tennis center. So we're going to go over what we've been doing. I think the last time I was here was probably maybe a year ago, a couple of years ago at least, probably. So and so we've been growing. So just to let you guys have an update of what's going on. We have our missions and goals. Our number one mission, and I tell this to our employees all the time, is we want to provide outstanding customer service. I mean, that is the forefront of what we're always focusing on, whether we're giving lessons or classes, drills, private lessons, running leagues, working with doing the courts, because we have the Hartrue clay courts, sub-irrigated surface, takes a lot of maintenance, but one of the things we do is we rake the courts every day. And a lot of the people have come here from out of town to play on our courts. And they've said they're the best courts they've ever played on. And that includes the National Campus in Orlando, all the way to St. Petersburg, where they have tournaments and things. Second mission and goal is to create a fun family atmosphere. When people come in, we want to make them feel like, hey, this is like just part of my life. I come here, I play tennis, I play pickleball. And we really we try to create a fun family atmosphere. Outstanding court conditions. Like I said, we spend a lot of time on that, making sure the facility is looking right. We're also here to help people achieve their goals, their tennis goals. And, at the end of the day, we're striving to be the best tennis center in Central Florida. We want to be talked about beyond Winter Haven. And as I go on with this presentation, you'll see how we are reaching out beyond just the city of Winter Haven and helping people outside of the city of Winter Haven besides the residents here. We offer classes for all levels. Before I forget, the little girl in the picture here is she's from Lake Wales High School, and she's actually walking on at Southeastern University. So she'll be playing college tennis. This is a young girl that I worked with for several years. And she came to me, just was a really good athlete. And through hard work on her part, she's been able to lift her game up to a level where now she's actually going to have an opportunity to go play college tennis. But like I said, she's from Lake Wales. Side note, long time ago, I used to teach her dad at Boone Middle School in Haines City. And I went with her uncle. I went to high school with her uncle. So it's, whole county, we're all related somehow. But getting back to the classes, we offer classes ages 5 years old all the way to 18. And the classes have doubled since 2022. A lot of it has to do with, one, we brought in an assistant pro to help out with classes because we were busting at the seams, and also the growth in this area. We have really developed a following here. So our classes have really grown. We have also offer adults classes ranging from beginners to advanced. And we also offer doubles drills, which are a lot of people like to play doubles. Our average age basically for the adults is, I always say, we're around a 55 and over and a level of about a 3.5, which means pretty good level. But so doubles drills is really popular at our facility. Some growth to share with you. Memberships have increased by 5 times since 2018. We opened the facility in May of 2018. Our average class size has doubled since 2024. So an example, our Ready for Red class, which has is a 5 and 6 year old red ball group. It's little to kids, has gone from a average class size of 8 to almost 16. So and if you think about 16 5-year-olds out there with tennis rackets playing, it's a challenge. If you look at our pickleball reservations, our pickleball's reservations has tripled since 2021, and that is our walk-ups. So if you go, it's in here for 6,193 walk-ups. In 2021, we had 2,595 walk-ups. So a walk-up is anybody who just comes up and wants to pay as they play. And our overall for 24-25, our overall memberships is we have 3 different classifications. We have just pickleball, we have tennis and pickleball, and then we have going through the field house. So you can do field house, tennis, and pickleball. So in 24-25, it was 330 total, 42 pickleball only, 257 tennis, and 31 people were the dual or the triple, I should say, pickleball, field house, and so you can see it's gone from 330. In 23-24, the total was 164. So it's gone from 164 to 330. The walk-ups for pickleball, and people will like, why is pickleball doesn't have as many? They're more of a migration type group where they like to play not just at our facility, but they'll go to Bartow has opened up a facility. Lakeland has opened up a facility, so they're more nomadic with their sport versus tennis. We have people who are specifically, they identify as City of Winter Haven Tennis Center people, and I think that's why there's a big change between the. There's one of them right there. Yes, sir. 40 and over, 8-0 sectional champion right there.
They
Perfect.
probably identify with a specific court too, don't they?
Yes. Oh yeah. Yes. Yeah. We have people who specifically want their same court all the time. So, but we work with them to do that. The USTA League Tennis, USTA is basically the National Tennis Association for our country. Okay. And the league teams, we have increased from when I got here in 2016, there was, I believe, 5 or 6 out of there. We're up to 18 teams now. That includes men's, women's, mixed. So we have really increased that. With that being said, that also increases the amount of court usage and the amount of space. So it is quite a challenge to try to fit everybody in. It's almost like a puzzle if you look at our scheduling book to try to figure out how to get everybody accommodated. But we do have that. It's a lot of fun. Commissioner Dantzler was part of our team that just got back from the USTA National Campus. We we won our sectionals. So when you win sectionals, you get to go to state. And he was part of the team that got to go. And we have another team actually they're practicing right now, a ladies team out on our hard court. They're going to go in a week for 4-0 women. So it's kind of fun having that group. We've also hosted the high school boys and girls tennis championships the last couple of years, or not the year before, but this past year. The Winter Haven boys and the Winter Haven girls play out of our facility. Winter Haven boys actually got to the state tournament this year, and I'll go into a second. But we do host there. We had over 200 people attend the event this past spring. So that was not counting the tennis teams. That was actually people coming to watch. So that was it was a good event there. Winter Haven is home to the USTA League. We have 18 teams. We have 4 sectional champions. Like I said, Commissioner Dantzler was on one of those teams. Winter Haven High School, the middle school Jewett Academy plays out of there. St. Joseph's uses the courts out of here. And it says Florida Southern, Southeastern, and Florida State. Those are the 3 schools that we just recently had students. We have one of our players, I call them students because I'm a teacher, but one of our players, he's attending Florida Southern, playing tennis there. Him and my son, who committed to Florida State, who plays tennis, they just won the state championship in doubles. And my son just won the state championship in singles. And he's actually down and playing the national clay courts, USA National Clays right now in Boca Raton. So he won today. So he's in the round of 16.
Oh, wow.
So hopefully he just keeps on rolling. So some pictures here. The 2 girls on the left are from Frostproof. They play for Frostproof. They also qualified for the state tournament. They've been with me since they were 8 years old. The one on the left, the blonde-haired one on the left, she's actually going to play tennis at Southeastern. So we have 2 players going to Southeastern. The picture in the middle, the one with the hair, that is my son. And I don't know where he got it from.
His mom.
But yeah, his mom for sure. But he won the double, which was a singles championship and a doubles championship. And his partner is on the left as I'm looking at it. I guess that's how you guys are. Yeah. They won the doubles. He's going to play at Florida Southern. And so it's kind of neat seeing these kids grow because you're giving them an opportunity. You know, like I said, the girl from Lake Wales, Michaela, who's going to Southeast, 5 years ago, in her wildest dream, she would never have thought, I'm going to go play college tennis. But you give them that dream, you know, amazing things can happen. To go over the pickleball is picking up. Our weekday averages attendance. When we say attendance, that is what we do is we've split Monday through Friday up to in the evening time to be able to hold or host the number of players. And the weekday average is between 15 to 35 players coming through there. Usually it's right around 35. Mondays and Wednesdays, it's a higher level, really good players. Tuesdays and Thursdays is a little bit lower level. It's more like for fun. The Monday, Wednesdays, these guys play tournaments and stuff like this. So they're using our facility. And then the weekend is Saturday mornings, 8 to 12, and you're running between 40 to 60. Okay. So we have, if you notice in the picture, we have 4 courts, right? So, you know, we have people sitting out. The way the game's played is social game. But you win, you rotate in, you lose, you rotate with a different partner. And then once you're done, you rotate out. But with 4 courts, you know, we try to make it happen with the 40 to 60, you know, on Saturdays. So, but it's you know, it's fun to see them out there. They really enjoy it. It's kind of like you know, it's a following, so to speak. And it's interesting because when I got there, the average age now is actually dropping, where before it was more of an older age group. So if you look at our age group that's actually playing now, dropping down into almost mid-20s, and now it's really highly competitive when it comes to that group because they're always wanting to play tournaments. But we still do have the older groups, people my age and stuff, playing for fun socially. So that's it. I'll open it up for any questions, and we really appreciate the city's support in helping us out with our endeavors there.
All right.
I got just a couple comments,
All right,
and then
go
I'll ask
ahead.
a question. So First of all, Dave's son, Ben, y'all heard me brag about him for a couple of years now. He's really, really good. If you were put him on football, he'd be a 5-star recruit, could go anywhere he wanted. Too bad he couldn't get into Florida, but that's okay. No, he could have. No, but you guys keep an eye on him because he's got one more year. I don't know if he's going to play high school or not. He's at a level where high school tennis is, hopefully he'll play another year and do it again and repeat. But if you ever want to see a really, really good tennis player, you're going to see him on TV one day. Go down there and watch him play. He's really fascinating. Yeah. So the tennis facility is very crowded and it's very busy. I have a standard time where I play on 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays. And by 10 o'clock, it doesn't matter who I am. When I was mayor, I was coming off the court. They were kicking me off. I tried to pull the mayor card, the commissioner card to stay on. They will not let you stay on. So by 10 o'clock, you got to come off. So we're extremely busy down there. And my question, Dave, has to do with pickleball. I know we had tried pickleball. We've got 2 hard courts and 8 soft courts out there. And we have 4 pickleball courts on one of the hard courts. And the other hard court, we tried to put pickleball over there. Is that working to try to alleviate some of the pressure? Or tell me about that.
It is. But what happens is because we are so. If you haven't been over there, you have the 4 pickleballs on one side, and that's facing north towards Lake Silver. And then you have court number 7, which is a hard court facing south. What we did was we put blended lines on the hard court so you can accommodate 2 more pickleball courts. So what we do is we put them there if we have overflow. But the problem is, or not problem, but the challenge is that so everybody wants to rotate in because they want to be part of that social group. But if you're on the other side of the building, that doesn't really get the flow going into that grouping. And so that's a challenge. So you'll find that what will happen is we'll have a couple, like a foursome wants to just go play by themselves and we can accommodate them there. But if anybody wants to be part of the 4 courts and rotate through, it's hard because they're on completely different sides of the building. So, but we have used it on it, when we need to, and when it's also not being used for tennis, because that's been another challenge is when we have all the clay courts being used, then we put a group on the hard court, then we have the pickleball court going on at the same time, and that's where the challenge lies because now we only have 4. We're back to 4 pickleball courts. So.
Well, the bottom line, commissioners, is we're going to have to expand our pickleball holdings. And I have thought of a 2-pronged process. And again, you've heard me talk about this, but we have all of those shuffleboard courts over there. And nobody wants to talk about this. I'm sorry T's not here, but I've talked to him about this repeatedly. Those shuffleboard courts get used not very often. But if we were to take half of those, you could have 4 more pickleball courts and not have to have another employee because everybody can still come through Dave's shop down there, and then we've doubled our capacity just by going north 1 court and losing maybe 12 of the shuffleboard courts in that workout little area. And then you can have 8 courts, and that would alleviate the pressure until we actually figure out where we're going to build a new facility. But these new facilities, Avon Park just built one, Bartow's built one. They're extremely nice. Lakeland's built a couple of them. It's coming. We're going to have to do it at some point. But in the meantime, I still think we could go north for it's just putting in 1 more tennis court, which equals 4 pickleball courts. And then you can have 8, right? And the whole thing about pickleball versus tennis is pickleball is much more of a social game. We're over there trying to kill each other on the tennis courts. We're hitting at each other. We're yelling and screaming. And they're over there laughing and joking. And they're bringing food. And they're having cocktails or whatever they're doing over there. They're just laughing and having a good time. And we're not. So pickleball wants to stay together. And to try to have them in separate places, it won't work. So to me, if we can figure out a way to get 4 more pickleball courts down there, and then you can still have the pro shop checking them in and they pay their money and they're all together and they bring their food and they have their fun time. And then the tennis guys are still doing their thing. That to me is a solution for us to consider is how do we expand 1 more court down there and until we can figure out where we're going to put a new facility because that day's coming. This sport is just growing like crazy. I sit on the tennis courts all the time. I see people drive up and I watch them. They can't get on. They drive out and they're frustrated. They get in their car and leave because they can't get on. they need to learn to make reservations like we do in tennis. We make reservations. Tennis, the pickleball people don't like to make reservations, but they will eventually. But at the end of the day, we see them all the time, drive up, stay 10 minutes and leave because they don't even get to play. It's too crowded. So if we're going to, if we're going to do something, that's, I think, the two-pronged process, I think, that we should probably consider. Dave, am I wrong, or what do you think? I mean,
I can speak to that. And that, we're starting on, you guys just approved the plan to go in and look at, to improve Diamondplex and then also look at siting for pickleball. I think as we bring that team together, we can also explore what other options are available in kind of the short term until we reach that long-term goal.
yeah.
That's just what I was going to speak to. The site evaluations is a key part of that project with the Diamondplex renovations. And we have submitted some sites for evaluation for pickleball, but also we're asking the consultant to do that from an objective standpoint as well. And so once we get those recommendations, we'll be able to fully vet what's best for expansion.
If you put pickleball in two different places, having them all together. So it's either all together and then we move them. If you split them up, it's just not going to work. That's my feeling.
So I have a question, and this will offend a pickleball player, but it's got to be, because it's still part of the argument. Anytime I talk to a pickleball player or a non-pickleball player, well, pickleball's a fad. It's going to go away. So in your opinion, you see this, every day. I know you don't have a crystal ball, but where do you see pickleball 10 years from now, 20 years from now? Because if the city's going to make the investment in it, you obviously want to see it have a long, healthy life and not fall to the side as shuffleboard has, for example. So just your opinion, you see it every day. Where do you see pickleball 10 years from now, 20 years from now?
Okay, so when it first came out, it's been around since 1965. So when it first came out, it was, you would hear, oh, it's not, it's for old people and things like that. Over the course of time, the age has gone from, let's say, 60 down to 50, down to 40, down to 30. When that happens, I don't think it is going away because now you're having a larger pool of potential players. And as the age bracket drops, and I've talked to some other pros at other places, I see it actually potentially becoming a high school sport, a competitive high school sport. It could actually become a college sport, more of a club. It would probably be more of a club because I don't know if you guys follow the NCAA stuff going on now. They're not going to be adding a lot of little tiny non-revenue sports, because of the loss, the settlement. I should say it's not a lawsuit anymore; it's a settlement. But I see it growing because it's influencing, or it's being younger people are starting to play. I think because it's another form of exercise, of activity. So if you look at let's say shuffleboard, comparing it to shuffleboard's probably the average age over time probably did not drop down to the 20s and 30s, where pickleball has dropped into that age bracket, where now you have former tennis pros. Andre Agassi is playing professional pickleball. I don't know if you are familiar with a former national champion in tennis here named Tommy Ho, who grew up in this area. He's playing professional pickleball in Texas. So he was actually here a couple months ago, and I had to hurry up and find some players for him. And because he's in his 50s, but I had to find some young guys because he's actually can really play. And so, so I think it's going to grow. And like I said, if it becomes like a high school sport or something of that nature, even a college club, I could see it being a college club sport where you compete against other colleges like they have club tennis. And so I could see it growing where there'd be a need. Yeah, because if you go, I've been by the Bartow facility, Nye Jordan Park, and I just been driven by there because I wanted to take pictures to see what their color combination of their courts were, and the place was packed. It was just, there was cars everywhere. So I don't see it being a fad right now. Yeah.
And we have lost a lot of people to Bartow. I'm down there a lot. I get my ear bent all the time about more pickleball courts. And a lot of people that used to play here now just go to Bartow. They don't even try it because they can't get on. They say and so we've had a ton of people go to Bartow. And Avon Park too. They've got a really nice facility.
But keep in mind, they also are, I agree with that. And they also are nomadic a little bit, but cause it's like, let's say Commissioner Dancer and I are really high level players. So we come driving by, some courts. I know there's some courts over in Haines City off 27, and we don't see players that are our level because we want competition, and so we'll drive to Winter Haven, then drive by there. Oh, there's some players there. We'll get out. Hey, y'all want to play? Boom. Now we got a game. So they actually sometimes drive around looking for different games. So, but it'd be nice to have, if we have enough facilities here, for them not to have to go driving around. So.
Anyone else? All right, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a good night.
All right, then we will do the strategic plan at the end.
Okay.
All right, we have the minutes that we'll take those up. We don't have any comments from the audience. Then we have this ordinance second reading, and since we've heard it twice already, could you be brief?
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mayor and City Commissioners. ARC Industries, the petitioner for this, is requesting to amend the 2035 future land use on a 0.64 acre parcel from neighborhood suburban future land use to neighborhood mixed land use. This is the Montessori school. We heard this previously.
Yes.
They intend to develop some of the property to be open for the coming school year, and then maybe some additional property within the future.
We all on. All right. 02522.
This is the companion item to that.
The zoning, all right. The consent agenda, now there's some things on here. The ones that deal with the travel, we don't have to expound on those. We know what those are.
Okay. So we just hit the other items then for you?
Yes.
Okay. So item 10A is acceptance and acknowledgement of the developers agreement. So this developers agreement was assigned in May of 2019. And it was entered into between the city, the CRA, and the developer. In 2014, that property was sold to BNL Champs. So to transfer that agreement needs approval from the CRA and the City Commission. There's no direct financial impact from this. The CRA board at their June 9th, 2025 meeting unanimously voted to accept that. And so it's coming to the City Commission for approval to accept that transfer of the developers agreement.
All right.
Moving on past the travel and training, we'll go to item 10E, drinking water asset management plan. So the water department has requested that Jones Edmonds develop a comprehensive drinking water asset management plan. This aligns with the FDEP's state revolving fund program requirements. So it's a requirement of that money that we borrow from the state. This will serve as both a regulatory compliance tool and a guide for city long-term planning. This will help direct capital investments, decisions, and promote sustainable operations and funding eligibility in the future. So it makes us more eligible for a variety of funding opportunities. That final plan, when it's put together, will be submitted to FDEP for approval. The funds are budgeted in this fiscal year in the amount of $115,655. And staff recommends City Commission approve the Jones Edmonds task order to prepare the drinking water asset management plan, which is part of our FDEP revolving fund compliance planning document, and authorize the city manager or his designated to take any necessary action required of the city.
Okay.
All right. Moving on to item 10F. This is a recommendation of award of ITB 2523 for reclaimed water transmission mains along County Road 653. 12 proposals were received for this that met the qualifications. In situ form, Technologies LLC, they were the lowest responsive bidder. This project extends approximately 1.26 miles of water line along County Road 653 and Eloise Loop Road, and approximately 0.94 miles south on County Road 653 from Cunningham Road. Project is partially funded through FDEP, a grant that we received from them and entered into earlier this year. Construction is estimated to begin in August of this year and has a 120-day construction window. Funds are budgeted in this fiscal year in the amount of $2,535,000. And again, that FDEP grant will cover about $819,000 of the construction. Staff's recommending approval of this item.
All right.
10G, you may recall at a recent pillar update, we spoke about the smart cover tools that we use. So these are tools that are inside of many of our manholes, and they're kind of an early detection system for potential overflows within the sewage system. So this item is bringing the company that manufactures those on board to provide ongoing maintenance support. So that is swapping out some of the components, monitoring the devices. We currently have 64 of those in place and 25 rain sensors that go with that look at how much rain we're getting in different areas and what that might cause as far as infiltration into the system, which can lead to an overflow. Mark, do we have more of those planned to purchase, right? Yeah, so we only plan to expand that program, and so this maintenance is kind of preemptive in that way as well. And so funds are budgeted for that in this fiscal year in the amount of $85,572, and then staff is recommending approval of that item as well. All right, 10H. So you guys may recall earlier this year, we brought a grant, or sorry, last summer, we brought a grant application forward for property that is off of Highway 17 North and US 92, kind of between Highway 17, Brigham Road, and the airport. I think there might be a map on the next page. Yep. So kind of that parcel there, it's about 152 acres. The city has identified this as just ecologically important land and has been on the city's radar for more than 20 years. The opportunity to purchase it only recently just came about. And it plays a really critical role in filtering surface water from between Lake Pansy and the northern chain, just a really important wetland within our system. So 2 appraisals were conducted on the property, and a mean value was determined of $2,250 per acre for the wetland and $92,747 per acre for the uplands. Based on those appraisals, the overall estimated mean value of the property is $1,470,822. Staff's negotiated a purchase price of the property for $1.4 million, which is slightly below that appraised mean. The Board of County Commissioners also recognize this as an important property. So you may remember the environmental lands dollars. They put their committee together to go out and evaluate properties all over the county. This was a high priority for them, and as such, they've agreed to partner on the cost. So they will contribute $600,000, and there's a letter as an attachment in here that speaks to the county's commitment. And then the city would be responsible for the remaining $800,000. So $800,000 is what the city cost is for about 152 acres. In addition, we were awarded that grant that we applied for last summer, which provides us $800,000 for restoration work on the site. And it requires a 50-50 match, of which this purchase can be used as part of that match. So that works out really well for us at the end of the day. This is important. It's one of the last large ecologically valuable parcels within city limits at a time of increasing development pressure throughout the county. So we think it's really important timing wise to secure this. If approved, the $800,000 is budgeted in the natural resources budgeted, and that would be paired with $600,000 from Polk County to complete the $1.4 million property acquisition. The city would be responsible for due diligence items such as property boundary and survey, which we estimated about $20,000, and the title insurance, which we estimated $7,000. The seller would be responsible for paying the dock stamps at $9,800. And staff recommends City Commission approve commercial contract with Astute Financial Corporation and authorize a city manager or his designee to execute the contract and take any and all necessary actions related to the city's acquisition of subject property in accordance therewith.
Questions? All right, continue.
Next up, so this is a related item. So this speaks to the grant that we applied for last summer, received, and we would be entering into the grant agreement with FDEP, and we would be able to use our purchase of the property as our 50-50 match in that. And staff's recommending approval of that as well.
Resolution 2535.
First item on here is Resolution 2535. And so in May of 2025, the commission approved Resolution 2526, which platted the Lake Deer Townhome subdivision. The subdivision consists of 51.7 acres, generally located east of 35th Street Northwest, north of Wrecker Highway, and south of Lake Deer. The subdivision contains 304 building lots and 10 common lots. However, certain improvements were not completed at that time. The developer TBHG Incorporated submitted a performance bond in the amount of $1,976,000 to $1,976,237 to guarantee completion of all the required infrastructure and improvements of the subdivision. The incomplete improvements at the time included earthwork, sanitary sewer, potable water, stormwater management, paving, and engineering certification. When they platted that, they platted it as a single-phase subdivision, but now they intend to break that up into installments. At this time, they've completed the required infrastructure for phase one and are seeking the city's acceptance of those improvements to be dedicated to the city. City's staff has performed the inspections of those improvements and has found them ready to be accepted. The city will retain the performance bond submitted as part of the subdivision plat approval process, and has work that's incomplete for phase two of the performance bond. We'll continue to hold that until that work is complete. Anything else there, Eric? I missed. Okay. No direct financial impact from this, and staff is recommending approval.
All right. Next is the Lakes report.
Yeah, and I don't want to steal the thunder on this one. There'll be a full presentation on this Monday night
Yes.
after the with the annual Lakes Appreciation Month proclamation. But just a few notes. You should have hard copies
Yes.
on the dais. So that's for you to kind of peruse through before we get there. I encourage you to pick out a lake that, that's special to you and look at the specific management page in the back section, which has a page for each lake. Also new this year is an in brief, which is like a 12-page document that just kind of takes that big document and boils it down a little bit to make it more accessible. Again, team will talk more about that Monday night, but in general, some really good news in there. On the whole, lakes continue to improve.
So I know, in case you don't have this answer tonight, you may already have it, but maybe you can have it Monday night. What's the benchmark lake? What's the lake that's the best of the best?
I think so. Actually, it's funny you asked that. I think included in their presentation for Monday night, they have that best lake of the year kind of recognition in there.
So I was trying to figure it and it's probably in this, but it's a couple inches thick. So it is 3 good, 1 is bad.
So, and actually, Monday night, they'll have a nice graphic that
Why do we have these meetings on Wednesday?
Monday night, there'll be a nice graphic in there that kind of, it's the map of the lakes and it's color coded and it shows kind of where they fall on that scale. And there's a nice explanation in there of what that scale means to make it a little more clear. Good questions, though.
All right. Ordinance's first reading,
Yes, sir.
2519.
Timothy F. Campbell, petitioner, requests the city amend a portion of Plan Unit Development Ordinance O-2223. The property subject to this request is the northern portion of the parcel generally located at the southwest corner of the intersection of Cypress Gardens Boulevard and Highway 27. So, yeah, right just to the south of Cypress Gardens Boulevard and west of Highway 27. Undeveloped property contains approximately 50.94 acres and consists of uplands of the Peace Creek and the Peace Creek. 2035 future land use map designates the uplands of the subject parcel as regional mixed use hub and designates conservation along the Peace Creek Canal. The current PUD permits up to 300,000 square feet of commercial space on the property, and the southern portion of the property would remain under the PUD and continue to allow for 313 multifamily residential units. The change requested here is to increase the commercial square footage allowed to 550,000 square feet, which is an increase of 250,000 square feet from the current PUD. Other requested changes address lot area, minimum size, on-site parking lot, locations for outparcels, and sign regulations. Proposed PUD is consistent with these designations, with the designations in the comp plan. All notification requirements for this request were met. There's no direct financial impact from this request, and it is exempt from business impact statements. Planning Commission at its June 3rd, 2025 regular meeting voted to recommend approval of this request, and no members of the public spoke. In conclusion, the increase in commercial square footage along with the minor changes to development standard does not create a significant amendment to the PUD. The proposed changes are consistent with the development pattern in the area and of that contemplated by the regional mixed use hub future land use designation, and staff's recommending commission approval.
All right.
Quick question, T. Does the county bought a bunch of environmentally sensitive land just to the north of there?
Yes, sir.
Have they already closed on it?
Yes, I
They
believe
already
they
have
have.
it?
Yep.
It doesn't abut Cypress Gardens Boulevard, does it?
I believe it does, yes.
Okay.
And it's, they have some long-term cattle leases, I think, on that before anything will really start to change, but they've secured that land.
Okay.
It's a big portion of that actually goes east of Highway 27 to the north too.
Any other questions? All right.
All right. Item 12B is ordinance 02520. This is a request by Sharon M. Watson to rezone a parcel from mixed-use zoning to commercial highway zoning. Parcel contains 0.24 acres and is generally located 250 feet east of First Street South and north of Avenue H Southeast. The western portion of this parcel is currently utilized as a parking lot for the adjacent commercial property, which is located just to the west. The petitioner owns the adjacent commercial property and intends to develop the property consistent with that C3 zoning district. As the primary mixed-use hub, future land use designation will remain, the maximum development potential is unchanged. Therefore, no increase in potential infrastructure demand beyond what is currently allowed is anticipated. All notifications for this request were met. No direct financial impact, exempt from business impact statements, and the Planning Commission at its June 3rd, 2025 regular meeting voted to recommend approval of this request, and no members of the public spoke. In staff's conclusion, the rezoning of the C3 zoning district is consistent with the property's location and with the developed uses and city designations in the area. As the primary mixed hub future land use designation will remain, maximum development potential is unchanged. There's no increase in potential infrastructure demands beyond what is currently allowed, and staff's recommending approval.
All right.
Can you give me some frame of reference? What's some of those roofs around there? I'm trying to figure out exactly where this is.
So it's at Avenue H, First Street. Trying to think what else is right in there.
Like behind it, is that a house? I don't know what's front of
Yeah,
what
that's-
building is that on First Street? Is that the bank?
I think south of there is where the bank is. Is that right, Eric? Hold on one second.
Whose parking lot is that?
Trying to think of what the landmarks right there are.
Trying to figure out where that is.
One second.
Yeah, I'd have to look it
So
up.
Regions Bank is directly across the street. So if you were to take Avenue H straight out, that's where Regions is. It's just north of Longhorn.
This parking lot to the left, do we know who's that a parking lot for? It fronts First Street?
Yeah.
Longhorn would be to the top, right? Or no, that's not Longhorn. That'd be Longhorn, wouldn't it? No, that's not Longhorn.
No, just to the north of that.
If you
Yeah,
just go
there's
to
like
the
a
right,
little
what's
building.
that building?
It's a little strip
that's-
mall.
Walgreens is the corner.
That's the urgent care center just to the north there. Or,
That one.
yeah, right there. That's the urgent care center. That's the Dr. Today Urgent Care Center.
Urgent Care Center.
Where Longs used to be, Hallmark.
Okay.
Across from Walgreens.
Tally-ho.
So Walgreens is on the other side of First Street. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I didn't realize there was that much vacant land on
Is
Avenue
that that
H.
building right there?
Okay. I'm good.
Anyone else? All right.
All right, item 12C is a voluntary annexation. This is a request by Candace Ducking and Listen Etney for the city commission to annex one parcel totaling 0.34 acres located at the southeast corner of the intersection at 8th Street Northwest or US Highway 17 and Avenue X. Petitioner is requesting annexation for future development of the property. It's contiguous to the city across 8th Street and Highway 17, and the annexation of this property will reduce the size of an existing enclave. Exempt from a business, does not require a business impact statement, and staff is recommending city commission approval.
All right.
So will that be commercial or we don't know that yet?
So we don't know that for sure. We haven't looked at the zoning yet, but my guess is it would be commercial. You'd see theirs is a vacant parcel to the south. Its only frontage is on 8th Street Northwest. And so my inclination is that those two parcels will likely be combined at some point in time.
All right, on to the new business.
Yes, new business item 13A.
Yes. In October of 2023, the city commission approved ordinance 02339, which is a PUD zoning ordinance. This dedicated additional right-of-way along the development frontage of what was Coon Lake Road and is now Lake Ruby Drive West to provide 30 feet of right-of-way to the center line, and the developer shall pave from Thompson Nursery Road, Eloise Loop Road to the main entrance roadway. Minimum of an 8-foot paved path must also be installed from the main entrance roadway west out to County Road 653. So what we're doing here is, as this agreement, the developer is looking to move forward with some of this work, and the The intent would be to relocate some of the existing utilities before undergrounding them, but then they would be required to underground them before they do any of the final build out of that site. So this just allows them to temporarily relocate them.
Okay. Any questions? All right. We'll now have the strategic review.
Yes. All right. So
Who's doing it? Oh,
Tanya Ayers will be the first speaker.
all right.
And we'll have our environmental stewardship pillar tonight. And this will be our second. If you recall, we have 6 pillars and we'll touch each of them twice throughout the year. So this is our second touch point on environmental stewardship. And just as a reminder, this pillar is about wisely caring for natural resources for current and future citizens. This includes things like meeting the present need without compromising future generations, environmental protection, natural resources conservation, waste management, land use planning, and incorporating sustainable practices. So those are the kind of topics we'll cover this evening. And Tanya.
Well, MJ just had to steal the show. So, good evening, commissioners. I will take it from here because MJ took Tanya's sides.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But we will talk tonight about the Adopt a Road program, the Great Winter Haven cleanup event that we held, and some other initiatives that we're doing there, as well as lake cleanups and partnerships, our Lakes Education's outreach, the tree reforestation, and then the Lakes Defender League. So excited to give you an update on our environmental stewardship and what we've been doing in the last 6 months. So the Public Works Department is working with Keep Polk County Beautiful to launch our Adopt a Road program. This program is going to give citizens, neighborhood groups, and businesses, and really just anyone who loves Winter Haven and cares about our environment, a chance to adopt sections of our city-owned roads and help keep those clean. As one of the fastest growing communities in the country, we all are very aware that first impressions matter, and whether somebody is looking to relocate here or visiting or vacationing here, how our city looks plays a big part in that decision-making process. So cleaner roads will not only make the community more beautiful, but it'll also help keep the litter out of our stormwater system and our lakes, which are just a huge part of Winter Haven's identity. So how the program is going to work is Keep Polk County Beautiful will manage the program, and they will handle adopting out the roads of interest. They will also be providing the volunteer groups all of the cleaning supplies, the trash bags, the grabbers, the gloves, all of those things. And they will then track the volunteer hours and how much trash is collected. And they will report all of that data back to us, so we are able to include it in things like our annual NPDS report each year. So the program details is that almost all city roadways can be adopted, that they have to be a 1 mile stretch for adoption, and then Keep Polk County Beautiful will then look and say, is there enough right-of-way space for somebody to safely work within this area and collect? Anybody who adopts a roadway will make a 2-year commitment and commit to making 6 or 8 cleanups during that time frame. They're obviously welcome to do more than 8, but they are committing that they will host 8 cleanups and present us with information during that time. We will be kicking things off by installing signs along some of our high traffic roadways that we know could use a little extra love, and are encouraging people to adopt them. The sign on the right of your screen will be what we are going to be posting. And so we are going to get those out hopefully in the next month or so. We're working through some final legal paperwork to make sure that all of the documents say City of Winter Haven and those type of things, and that our attorney's comfortable with them before we put this on the street. But our goal is to have that advertised within the next month in signs showing adoptable roads available. This program is going to align with some of our strategic plan goals. Specifically, I'm going to call them out. I'll read them just real quick. But 4.2.1 was expanding partnerships with organizations that supported environmental efforts and community beautifications. And I think it's really exciting just to have this partnership. We work extremely well with Keep Winter Haven Beautiful, and we're going to continue to do that. But this will allow us to take another step to adopt a roads and some other programs that we really want to work on. We also had the strategy of 2.3.2, which was establishing community adoption programs for right-of-way and parks and public spaces. And I think that this partnership will allow us to continue to grow in that area. We're looking at adopting launching an Adopt a Park program next and working with Julie and her team on what that looks like. Keep Polk County Beautiful has successfully run a program just like that before. And instead of recreating the wheel, we're just going to expand our partnerships and get more people involved with caring for Winter Haven. Like I mentioned, we're still going to work on strengthening our partnership with Keep Winter Haven Beautiful. They've been a wonderful partner of ours for a very long time. We're teaming up with them for a number of cleanup events, including celebrating their 45th anniversary. They have a goal of collecting 1 million pieces of a litter, which is a part of the greater Keep America Beautiful program. And so they are going to be coming to us here in the near future and asking us to take that pledge alongside of them in celebration of their 45th year. So with that, our litter coordinator, Lou Ann Corby, is leading a lot of these charges. She's really working well with these partners, and she's going to be sharing some news on the Great Winter Haven Cleanup event that we had, as well as some other events that we're hosting.
Good evening, City Commissioners. My name is Lou Ann Corby, and I'm the Litter Control Coordinator for the city. On April the 23rd, 2025, we celebrated Earth Day with the Great Winter Haven Cleanup. Thanks to 2,036 participants, this cleanup effort was a huge success. The combined efforts of the City of Winter Haven employees and volunteers removed a record-setting 5,340 pounds or 2.67 tons of litter from our community. Just to put things in perspective, the 2.67 tons of litter we removed is equivalent to the weight of 2 full commercial dumpsters overflowing with litter. If you emptied right now those dumpsters in this room, the pile would take up half of the room and the walls would be 6 feet high. So in essence, that's how much trash we removed from the lakes, roads, and stormwater drains. Here are a few highlights of the event. Every department across the city was represented in this event. Together, we cleared 18 hot spots, litter areas within the city. To show appreciation, the participants enjoyed lunch from 2 food trucks and several raffle prizes were awarded to wrap the day up on a fun note. This year, in recognition of Earth Day, we invited local schools to partner with us. While city staff and volunteers conducted cleanups throughout the community, these students simultaneously participated by cleaning up their school grounds. It turned out to be a citywide team effort with students and staff cleaning side by side. 4 schools enthusiastically participated and joined in our event. We equipped each school with gloves and bags for the litter collection, along with Earth Day bookmarks as a token of our appreciation. After a job well done, we served frozen popsicles and were delivered as a refreshing treat while the students cooled off and celebrated their efforts toward Earth Day. We awarded 2 top prizes. Garner Elementary was the winner for the most participants with 842 participants. Brigham Academy was the winner for the most litter collected. That included 15 bags, 16 pallets, and tree and brush debris. A great time was had by all. Looking ahead to next year's event, we're planning to grow school involvement and place a stronger emphasis on business participation. A key focus will be encouraging businesses to take pride in their own properties and take ownership of the surrounding properties. This might mean cleaning up the street they're located on, a parking lot, or their storefront. This collaborative approach will help expand our impact citywide. For the lake cleanups and partnerships, the city proudly partnered with Keep Winter Haven Clean and Beautiful for Project Eagle, their annual flagship event focused on environmental stewardship. On April 26th, city staff volunteered alongside community members at Lake Ship Park. We cleaned up the park and the shoreline. The city will continue this partnership with Keep Winter Haven Clean and Beautiful the third Saturday of September to commemorate World Cleanup Day. Please save the date and mark your calendar for September 20th, 2025. Finally, to close out 2025, the city and Keep Winter Haven Clean and Beautiful will partner for Household Hazardous Waste Day on December 6th, 2025. We also partnered with Legoland on June the 5th and Sea Life Florida. They hosted a shoreline and park cleanup at Lake Ship as part of their global 24-hour initiative. City staff worked alongside their employees in this team effort. Together, we cleared 10 bags of litter, improving the health and appearance of Lake Ship and the surrounding park area. Thank you so very much. Next, Olivia with Natural Resources is going to present Lakes Education and Outreach Programs.
Thank you, Luann. Good evening, everyone. My name is Olivia Husick. I'm an environmental scientist with the Natural Resources Division under Public Works, and I'm here today to discuss with you our Lakes Education and Outreach programs. So while we conduct a large variety of outreach and education, I'm specifically going to be focused on our kayaking eco tours tonight, as well as some of the outreach we do with our summer camp groups. All of these activities are designed to promote buy-in to our natural resources, specifically our lakes. The goal of this is to really encourage citizens to identify with and have good feelings towards our lakes, to promote them to want to better protect our lakes. So this can be anything from as small as making life changes to picking up small pieces of litter along the side of the road, or promoting green stormwater infrastructure and less pollution in our lakes. So one of the primary outreach activities we do is our kayaking eco tours. Previously, we have done 6 eco tours a year, but we've actually expanded it to 9 this year based off of popular demand. We've completed 5 so far for a total of 44 kayakers. We have 4 upcoming. We will be out on Lake Silver in September, Lake Smart in October, Lake Cannon in November, and Lake Pansy in December. So we've also worked with the Polk County IFAS Extension Office to develop a targeted lesson plan covering water quality, aquatic plants, and wildlife. This is to make sure that our attendees receive a robust and varied education on our lakes. We aim to teach them something new every single time. So we also conduct a post-kayaking survey after the eco tour. Based off of that, we know that 72% of our attendees for this year have reported either never been out on our lakes before or only going out on our lakes once or twice a year. Additionally, we ask our participants to rank the importance of lake health on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being they feel it's very important. And we found that 90% of our attendees have ranked it as at a importance of 7 or above. So this is really great for us to know that they do value our lakes and we are promoting that buy-in that we really want to preserve. So additionally, I mentioned some of our kayaking or outreach opportunities that we do. This is specifically some of the activities we do with our summer camp groups. So if you looked on the right of your screen, you can see we have some kids out dip netting. This is when they take nets and they dip it along the side of a lakeshore and they can collect small amphibians, insects, and fish. This gives them the opportunity to identify different species that we have in our lakes and learn more about them. It's really incredible to watch some of the kids get to see these different kinds of animals and get very excited about it. Additionally, we started something about a year ago called fish printing. So we take a mold of a fish, something like this. This is a bluegill, and the kids will paint a small layer of paint onto the fish, and they will then press it onto rice paper to make a print of a fish. This is something that they get to keep and take home, and it allows them to identify different parts of the fish as well as different fish that we have in the area. So I'm mentioning summer camps right now. We've previously assisted with Mayor Birdsong's summer camp group. They're always a great time. We're also happy to help out with various other community groups. We've done everything from local scouting troops to assisted living facilities. Basically, if you want us to come out and talk about our natural resources, we are very happy to do so. So I know snake on the screen might be a little scary for some. I do not have a snake here today, but we do have some of our animal ambassadors to show you guys so you can get a little taste of what we bring to different community events. And I have Devin Moore, our senior environmental scientist, and Dustin Everett is going to help me out by bringing these guys around. So the first guy we have is a Florida box turtle. His name is Yertle. So one of the really interesting things about these guys and why they have their names is they actually have hinges on the underside of their shell that allows them to completely pull themselves into their shell and hide from predators. These guys also have very ornate markings along their backs. It's part of the Florida box shell pattern. Unfortunately, it does put them at risk of being very popular in the pet trade. So people will take these out of the wild and capture them as pets. That's part of why they are a threatened species, but they're very important for us to take around because they are a great example of a terrestrial turtle. These guys prefer to spend most of their time on land. We teach the kids that the easiest way to tell that is because they do not have webbing on their feet. So we're going to move on to an aquatic species so you guys can see some of the difference between them. This is Shelly, a yellow-bellied slider. So one of the interesting things, you can note that she has webbed feet. That's because she prefers to spend most of her time in the water. She also has a smoother shell, meaning it's easier for her to swim through the water. And Shelly is a really great example of what one of our native species looks like. And if she had cooperated, we would have Olive here tonight, who is a red-eared slider. So they are an invasive species that looks very similar to Shelly, but they have a distinct red mark on the back of their neck. Fortunately, she was hiding at the bottom of the tank today and did not want to come for a visit. We try to respect that when the animals do not want to be handled. So next we have a musk turtle. This guy's not named, unfortunately. We've tried, nothing's really ever stuck, but these guys are really cool because they are actually ambush predators. So they are animals that prefer to stay more so on the bottom of the lake. They will wait for a fish or something to swim by, and then they will dart out and catch it.
His name's Elon.
That may actually be the name that sticks now. So all of our turtles that I've shown you today are actually omnivores, so they prefer to eat some vegetation as well as some small insects and fish. They're one of the really important ways that we take and use these guys as tools to teach kids about how important it is to keep our environment protected, keep our ecosystems clean, and to also respect the animals and the wildlife that we have in the area. So our lakes education is one of the many ways in which we support our lakes and work to ensure that these ecosystems are protected. And it also allows us to get the community involved in protecting these ecosystems as well. I'm happy to take any questions you guys may have at this time.
I got a quick comment. I'm just going to say your eco kayaking tours. I took one of those when I first got on the commission, probably 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And my leader was none other than our assistant city manager here, who was now, I guess, in your role back in that year, many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I will tell you, those are a lot of fun. We went on Lake Elbert, and I had no idea Lake Elbert was so clear. You could see the bottom and you could see the fish, and it's easy. They set the kayaks up for you. So if you want to do something fun, jump on one of those things because they're really fun to go out there and they give you everything you need. You just show up and go. So good job on those because they're so popular. People do like them.
They're
So,
very popular. We love doing them. It's really great, and we always get wonderful feedback from
yeah,
everyone, so
everybody
it's
that goes
awesome.
just comes back, just raves about it. So it was fun.
Well, thank you very much for your time, and I will now pass it back to Brittany. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to keep this party going. So we are going to talk a little bit about tree reforestation and some of the things that we have going on there. So we had our first official planting for our canopy enhancement program. Unfortunately, Savannah could not be here this evening to kind of give you guys this update. So I will try my very best. But we launched that planting project at Interlaken Park, which was once a heavily forested, much-loved community space. I have heard stories that there used to be Easter egg hunts there and community celebration and just years of joy by the people who lived in that area under those trees. And unfortunately, many of the storms starting in 2004 started taking those trees out, and it just kind of emptied. So thank you to Tyrone Summerall of Summerall's Environmental, many of our Urban Forestry Advisory Board members, and our Natural Resources and Parks teams. They were able to plant 36 trees in that area. There were longleaf pines, wiregrass, red maples, hickories, 1 or 2 magnolias, I believe, and a flatwood plum. And those are what the colored dots are that you can see on the screen. The goal was with this planting to mimic a native upland forest. And we had the update that so far the trees are really growing in well. We haven't seen any loss there. At our last Urban Forestry Advisory Board meeting, we took a field trip with many of the members to scout the future planting locations. And so on the left, we have South Lake Howard Drive that is over near Avenue D, Northwest in the Beamer Church. We have some space to be able to plant there. We're looking at what would be the best size and species to get in there, realizing that there's some underground infrastructure that we want to be protective of. I believe there's a water main right through there. We also had a little bit further up there, it was a boardwalk that had a really nice oak tree at one time that sustained damage to the roots and ended up having to be removed. And so we're going to do a planting there as well to make up for that loss. We're intending on planting, I believe, 3 to 4 trees to make up for that one large one that had to be removed. We also then went a little to the northeast and looked at planting spaces there. You can see all the dots on the map kind of show where we could plant trees, but we like to get out in the field and vet those out. And so we believe that we're going to do a lot of plantings along Unity Way as well as Avenue S. There's some good space throughout there. We've got good clearance of utilities overhead and underground. And so excited to start planning for those spaces. We are going to schedule those later in the fall when the weather's a little bit cooler and it's just a better environment to be planting those trees with a better chance of survival once we get them in the ground. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Katrina, and she's going to get to tell you a little bit about the Lake Defenders League.
Good evening. Okay, so this is the last thing tonight, I promise. But we're really excited about this. So shortly before the end of the school year, Commissioner Dantzler, you had introduced us during your comments to the 4Ocean program that encourages boaters out in the oceans to pick up at least 4 pieces of litter or trash while they're out there. And a few weeks after that, I had Anna, whom you guys may remember, you presented a proclamation to Anna for our accomplishments of being elected governor at Girls State this year. We had the honor of having her intern in our office throughout the month of June through a partnership with Polk County Public Schools. And what I tasked her with was, what's the Winter Haven equivalent of the 4Ocean program? And so in partnership with Brittany's team and the Natural Resources team, she came back with this proposal, the Lake Defenders League. So we're looking forward to launching this within the next year. You'll see that the city is kind of divided into 5 different teams. Each team is represented by a native species. So we will be inviting our citizens to join a team. They will be given a kit, which will consist of a boat flag with their team's logo, a trash grabber, bags, and gloves to be able to collect the litter and trash when they're out on the lakes instead of just sending us video of it. And they will be able to then scan a QR code on a sticker that we give them and report back how much they collect. And we'll ask them to report everything from 2 pieces to 2 trash bags, and we'll compile that information over the years. We're working on some additional partnerships with this to be able to promote it out on the canals, to potentially work with some other some artists on how to turn the litter into art to further promote it. We're hoping to potentially roll it out at Hands on Haven, but definitely before the 2026 kind of spring and summer boating season. So residents can choose the team that overlays their favorite lake or where they live, or pick because they like the mascot best. It doesn't really matter. We're just trying to give people something to rally behind and really help defend our lakes by picking up trash when they're out on them.
Perfect.
So we've talked about Adopt a Road, the Great Winter Haven Cleanup Event, lakes cleanups, lakes education, reforestation, and the Lakes Defenders League. But we're all still here if you have any questions.
All right, thank you. Any questions? All right. We don't have any reports. Anything else? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We stand adjourned.